Well, it's starting in 1 second. Oh, there we go. It stopped on the 1 second countdown. And so I was just giving Bryce a hard time that it's just stopped there. But then it flipped on just as I started talking. Hi, guys. How are you today? We're going to finish our card set from the Eastern Wishes today. And I will show you at the end how many cards this makes, and I still have half a luxury kit left. So this is pretty crazy how much you can get, and a lot of it has to do with what you get in your purchase with your Eastern Wishes luxury topper set, because you're also getting the inserts and special papers. So that helps really spread out the wealth to where you can do much more. So with no further ado, because we just have an hour, we're gonna move right to it. Okay. Alrighty. So I think I'm going to backtrack just a second and start here. And it's just because of this is kind of where we were at when we were moving on through the packs. So we were talking about this one because I had the little hummingbirds that I thought would fit so well on one of our cards from last week that had the little hummingbirds, the little T card with the really pretty stickers all over it, this one. And I had said we can add in those mint colored stickers that are right in there, and little gem sets into this one as well. So I wanted to make sure that I re-referred that card to you because of that. So this was our next set with the same topper set. It's the Hummingbird and Teapot section of the topper set. And this has one of the fancy shapes, the Oriental shapes, fancy shape cards. And so we're going to go ahead and show you how I did that. It may look a little, I don't know if I can do it, but I promise you can. You absolutely can. And then I'm going to talk about how you can maybe make something similar to this while keeping with like a 5x7 card if you didn't purchase and have the chance to purchase the Eastern Wishes Oriental shape cards. So that's where we're starting. Okay, so first off, for this piece, I used, this is the luxury insert that goes with this pack. This is actually the background for the vase one, but the vase one is part of the same topper set, so it blends really well. The colors are all still the same, and this gives you a better idea of what that piece of the card, what the piece looks like as an insert. So it gives it just something very light. I didn't want something heavy because I wanted to make sure that the other pieces of this would be able to stand out, and I wanted it to seem more subtle and not so busy. So first thing I did was I just went ahead and I put strips on the card and the card shape, and I attached it to the card and then cut the shape out. So basically I just went through and attached it. Do not attach it. Let me back up here a little bit. Do not attach it at any place where you're going to crease. So you want to attach them towards the outer edge. You can attach them down here at the bottom if you want, but as you can see, it holds very nicely and has a lot of movement, and you want to keep it that way or else your card will crease and wear out with time. So, and so I just took it and I literally laid it out. I took after I put on all my strips, and I laid it out just like this on top of the insert, and then flipped it over. Well, actually flipped it over to make sure that I had it right, and then pulled all my flags. And then I went through and I cut from edge to edge pieces. And then this piece you cannot cut until you close it, and then you cut a V shape on each side. So that's how you do the base cover of the card. From there, this is just a border strip, and it's angled with this not all the way down part because this folds in to help hold the card up. And most of the types of styles of kimonos that are out there don't have a lot of extra pieces, or they have their tie that goes across, the collar that goes across, but then they let the material sing. So I wanted to make sure that I did the same thing. And so this allows that those stickers, we've got the circle border stickers from Starform, I believe. I think that I saved them, hopefully. I tried to save each of the ones that I used. And it's not helping that I don't have that ready for you. Yeah, it's Duty. It's one of the Duty stamps. And so this is $69.31, and you get it in a pack like this. So this, I already had 2 of these used up prior to starting to use it. So literally, I just used these little pieces, and I think there was a little bit left from this one. So what you're going to do is that you're going to put it, I jumped too far ahead. Sorry, guys. We keep pausing. Does that mean that they can't hear me well?
No.
Okay. All right, perfect. It's just on our side. All right, so first off, I used one of the border pieces of the actual cardstock for this that was left over after using the cardstock on this. So I've got the really pretty border just straight across the top, and then I again cut the little V out on the front. So once you put this piece on across there, then you can put your stickers on across there. Or I did it through where I put this border piece first and glued that down, and then cut the stickers for how much I needed on either side of those flaps. I've got a couple of the Hunkydory gemstones on a roll. They really brighten this up, and I would encourage you to use as many as you like. And then I did the same thing down and around here. Now, what I found is that if I folded it over the edge, it would not stay stuck. So instead, you're going to want to make sure that you just go ahead and lay it out. Put your stickers here. I had to cut them and then take a diagonal and lay the sticker out. So basically, what I did was I put this one straight on, and then from there I took one here, and then I just moved it around and into the bend. So you'll want to make sure that you keep that bend and try and get all the way down to the bottom. And you may need to use a little bit of glue with this because you are pulling it up right here with your fold. So this gives you some forgiveness in the fact that you can bend these a little bit. If you need a little bit more movement, you can also cut at the very top and just take a little nip out of each one if you're finding that it just doesn't want to turn as much as you want it to. And so that will give you a lot more leeway, if you can see that. Here, we'll put it on one that doesn't have any. So if you have this, I can go way far down and exaggerated with that because I've clipped it all the way to the last little gold ring. So you've got some movement with these. Then I put on my little topper of the hummingbird, and I put it up on Foamies for you. And then this is where I use my hummingbird stickers. And I don't know if you guys have some of these in your own stash. I do know that they are hot off the press dazzle. I don't recall seeing them in our arsenal lately. So you may just have one of these that you didn't know what to do with it, but you thought it was so pretty at the time. This is going to give you, let's see, you can search in our store, and it's HOTP 2541, and see if we have any more left. I apologize, I ran out of time to double check that. If it is there, Debbie will put a link to it on when we release the video in the newsletter today. So that is what we have. It may be tomorrow, because I think Brittany had to leave a little early today and she was going to have to work from home for a little bit of it. So it may be as late as tomorrow for the bird on the back. And it has a strip across that says, "I am lucky to have you in my life." And I put that up on foam squares on the back. You could totally write on the inside. This will make it, and you can do that. Again, make sure that you're not sticking along any of your creases if you decide to put in an insert for the same reasons. But this will not stand up without giving it a good little fold and a good little fold. And then they stand up great. You can even make them 4D by putting this section in and then bringing the other one around, and you can double-sided sticky tape and hold it in place like that. I liked the fact that it looked very dressy, and I am also encouraging you to keep that in mind. You can always trim this shape down to a little bit smaller sleeve and trim it up here a little bit smaller sleeve, and you can totally use this with material, with any other type, and it will look like a dress. You can do even a baby christening with this because of having these this shape. It is really truly a dress shape. So I've made it very oriental because that's what we've got is Eastern Wishes from the East, and so I wanted to make sure that I did that. I have a little girl that's coming in to say something to me. Yes, Lily? Did you need that hug really quick?
Yes.
Okay. I love you.
I love you too.
Okay. Go back and sit down. Thank you. Nope, I need for you to be a big girl. You agreed. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Just one more hug.
Okay. That's it. We're going. Off you go. Nope, one was promised. Okay. Thank you guys for bearing with me. I've got Lily with me today. We kind of snuck down here to Debbie's house to do the video, and so she's been patient so far as I was unloading everything. Okay, so the second part of that topper set I have used here. It's the vases, and this is the topper that you'll see on it. And then I've created something using some extra pieces in order to use this as part of a topper set. So first off, I made a Z-fold card. So laying it down flat, I went and I used the insert paper. Oop, wrong side. I used the insert paper for this as well. And so it has movement so that you can bend that. So make sure that you take and fold your card over before you start. This is a so when you fold it, just fold it in half. Use your little knife, or you can use a boning knife, or you can use your scoring board to make that right through here on this side before you fold it. So then you're going to just basically take a 6.5 by 6.5 area and put it from this side over onto this side. I used glue along the edges just to be able to hold it up, causing too big of a crease. And the movement with moving it, I think that if we had put anything down with tape around that corner, it would just bubble up and not look good. So we did that, or I should say I did that. And this is the insert paper that has, I'm trying to remember which insert it had with it. I think that it is the back side of the, yeah, it's the back side of the really light flowers insert paper, not insert, but the specialty papers that came with the inserts. It's that one, and it's got like these really faint flowers. We used it on this card. So this card is the faint flowers insert for one side versus the other. So that is what we used. And then I took this piece out of, oh dear, bear with me, folks. We're back at that space where, hey, I got to grab a few things and let you know what I used where. So give me just a second. I forgot to grab that. I must have grabbed it, but I don't know where I set it down at because I'm good at that. Oh, look, I did have it. Yay! I thought I was more prepared. Just forgot. Okay, so these are our parchment papers. We showed those last week, so find the Eastern Wishes, the first one, and you can find out how I used some of these sets earlier. So this, 1, 2, 3. So this is where it came from, the vases portion of it. And I took that and I just popped that out. And I used this piece right here to get the, because we weren't going to use it in the other section. So I took this little foil piece off, glued it along with a backing paper to that frame and cut around it with a different backing paper. And then I cut that piece out and then applied it with glue and then put my foamy on top. And that one came from, you would think that it came from this one, but it didn't. It came from, I believe, the actual cardstock for the flower. There's all of my little goodie inserts. Let's see. There's a lot of moving parts to these things, let me tell you. Excuse me. Yeah. So it came from the cardstock on this one, where all I ended up doing was placing that smaller frame right here and putting it here and then cutting that one out. So I've basically made my own little topper pieces by using the middle frames of all of these different cards. So you'll be able to see where every single one of these frames went. I put bamboo on the corners, and then I added some of our little bird fairies. I took one of our sayings that came from right here, and I was really, here it is right here. And that one, I was concerned that it was going to take up the entire line. And I had already made my inserts a little bit smaller than the actual card. And so it would have hung over. And I thought, no, I don't want to do that. So instead, I took, and it was perfectly for thank you, and I cut it and then mirrored it on the bottom with so much. And so it still says the same saying. It's just broken up. So then that way it doesn't look so heavy on one side versus the other. Because if I do flowers here and flowers here, and I do nothing else in the other spaces, it's going to look very empty. So that's how I handled that portion of this card. And then from here, this is probably the quickest and fastest part of the card. Number one, you can put whatever you want to over here. If you've got the Eastern Wishes papers that are the long paper pack, that's also on our sale right now. And so you can actually use, and they have lots of different sayings on them. And I'm going to show you where I use them in some of the cards today. So you can put a piece there. But on this inside portion, I just took my insert paper and I went through and I broke this up and just put this on each of the diagonals. So I moved one and then I twisted the other to halfway in between, and then I used this one. So just make sure that when you do this, you put foam squares on this piece right above your insert fancy papers. Light fancy paper. We'll just call them the lightweight fancy papers. So you're going to put foam squares on across the entire section here. But in this section, you don't want to do that. You just want to glue this frame. From there, you're going to take and put foamies on this and then place it down after you center it. So it really goes very simply and smoothly. It's this frame is beautiful all in of its own. I really didn't want to deter from that at all. So that is that card.
Lots of dimension.
Yes.
By layering them that way.
Yes, absolutely. And we needed something to stand out with that Z fold. So, right. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at the next card. The next card I used this one. I don't know where the extra piece of that went. It was here. You can stand there and wait, but I can't help you right now. Okay, so you can just stand and wait and enjoy my time, or you can go watch. I apologize. My little piece right here fell out, so I'm not sure where it went in this process. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, that's right. Okay, it's this piece. We use this piece and this piece on our paneling card from last week. So this is what's left over. So we have this, and these little buttons here, and the border piece. And at this point, I haven't used that border piece at all. So from there, we just went through and made this one. So we chose this. We chose this, or I should say, I chose this piece to be the front and center of my card. This is using the Windows card. And I grabbed the Windows card that's empty so that you could see what it looks like. So the Windows fancy fold is this. And you can use this trick with tons of different cards and card stocks. So think about all the Heartfelt Creation Windows pieces that are out there. If you don't have the Windows die, never fear. There are some Windows in the Hunkydory Eastern Wishes pack. So you punch out these little cards out of each hole to give it its framework for having a window. And what I did was I went through, I put in a piece of paper that I didn't care about, and I used our Cosmic Shimmer paste that we just got in, and I used one that I already had at home And I'm not sure that we have it quite in yet for this color or if it's coming. But it is called apricot. But I believe that Debbie told me the other day that she's ordered every color. So if we don't have the apricot in, you can choose to use a different one. You don't have to use the same color. I just happen to have that in stock. It would be beautiful with any of the blues as well, or even we've got the golden metallic as well as the opal metallic. And so you can use either one of these with it and have it be totally gold. So this is what I did with this card. With the paste, I then went through and I used my bamboo stickers. We have some that are all gold in star form as part of this sale. These happen to be some that I had in my packs of stickers. And so these are part of the, I want to say that they are the duty stickers. Let me just go check my package of stickers here, shall I? Okay. Yeah, this is duty and it's 356230 in the straight ones. That one's the corner one and the straight ones are 356229. And I believe that we have some but not many left. So just so that you know, but the star form ones look basically identical in style and size, and you can totally use them here. So I used going down first, all the way down. I cut right here on the tops and the bottoms, and then I ran each side, and then I put two, one on top and one on the bottom in one smooth move between this one and this one, because these already were going down. But make sure that you cut this shorter so that you can run your top line through here. So just some things to think about, because if you don't, then you're going to be going, oh, I missed it. I've crossovered my stickers and now it doesn't look good. It's absolutely fine if you just think about how you want your layout to look. So do I want this to look as all one piece, or do I want this to have to break up and put things in the middle? So it's just really kind of thinking about that. And as you cross over, I crossed over those lines and they still blended in quite nicely and laid nice and flat. So this is one way that I did it with the parchment. And so I wanted to show you what it looks like without, because Debbie saw these last week and she said, oh, I like it better without. But I figured that each person could make their own decision, and I would just show you both directions. I like it better with the parchment. I have the parchment cloud from the Eastern Wishes packs. And this is what it looks like through the parchment. And you can see it through the parchment there. And if I take this out, this is what you would see. So it just kind of depends on which way you like it and with what. So if I do mine, it's going to look a little bit different because this is covered with parchment. So you can see my layers of sticky tape. Oh, that's my part of my reminder. Make sure that you use your sticky tape, your red liner sticky tape for this, because that's how parchment sticks well. If you don't use this, it will pop right off with glue whenever you try and bend it or do anything like that. And so it's just taking and running some flags through there and putting it on and then cutting it out. So you cut them nice and straight, have it all ready to go, and then you put it right in there. But I just wanted to show you what the difference is between the two, so that you could make that decision for yourself. So one is just a little bit softer, a little bit lighter, and then it just gives you this buoyancy of color when you open it up. And all this is the cardstock, the foiled cardstock from the kit. And then I've used some bamboo corners here in the bottom to finish it off. I believe there's a line on this one. Yes. Nope. Wrong one. Yes. There is a line right up here in blue. And so I cut that off for this to fit into the 7x7 space and give me the most amount of lantern. If I did it higher and I use this blue piece, then my lanterns are going to be way down here. And so they'll be down further and it won't look like a regular window space. So I chose to cut off that blue piece at the top in order to do this. And then from there, it's just truly a set of tape flags on each side and your parchment on each side. Make sure that your parchment does not go into your folds. You can use that. Let me see. You can see here I didn't put my sticky in there. You want that edge of parchment to end at that sticky space. And don't let it stick in there or else it will pop your parchment off or it will go through and bubble or bend. And then you have trouble being able to shut it. So always give yourself about 1/8 of an inch whenever you have a seam. And I think that's going to be like the running story on this card set, just because I used as much possible out of that set of papers. And you'll see it with how many we've been able to make. We, me, somebody, I don't know.
Even the kitties.
Even the kitties. No. No. But Mary helped me this afternoon, so that was very sweet of her to help. She put some stuff on the cards for me in order to wrap some stuff up because I got really tired last night and fell asleep before I was done. So the other set is going to be my shaker card set. This is my shaker card. I used this one. It's got both the gold on the inside and this one. Take them out as one solid piece of the two. Do not pull them apart and glue that down to the cardstock. And you're just going to take some of the various different cardstock pieces that we didn't use. So on this particular case, I used some of the bottom here that I wasn't going to use anywhere else. And I just thought, okay, shaker card. I'm just going to make it. I really like this really simple shape. And then after time, I went, nope, I don't really like it with just that simple shape. I think it needs a little bit more. And so it felt so small for so much of that lantern. I wanted it to really show off. So we've done shaker cards in the past, so I'm just going to give a quick review of it. We're going to go through and we're going to put our cardstock piece in the back. You're going to glue this to the card. And I glued this to the card. I then put embossing powder on the back of the card as well as on my acetate piece. Because when I did this extra piece in here, I didn't want stuff to hang up on this line. So I did embossing powder puff on the inside piece, and then I went through and finished out the card. So from there, you run your foam tape all the way around. You're going to keep it upside down at this point in time with just this frame on the outside of the acetate with just regular glue. You can also use sticky tape or tape, double-sided sticky tape, so finger lift tape. So if you put that right on here, then you can lay that on top of your acetate. You can cut that shape, flip it over, put your foam piece all the way around. Make sure that it gets sealed everywhere. And then you can put that on top of the rest of your front of your card. From here, that's when I made the decision that I wanted to attach it to something extra. And so I went ahead and I filled this with one of my papers from the Eastern. I'd already done it. So this was filled in from the Eastern Wishes long pack. It's like to be used specifically with DL sizes. So it's a DL size paper pad. And with that, I just went, nope, I want to change it. But instead of cutting off this really pretty picture, I just left it as this portion of the card, and I just attached the card that I had made to another card topper by doing this. So we have on sale as well currently the bamboo embossing piece. I have it in a couple of other places. And so hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit more of it. But this was just enough bamboo that you can see what it is. It's great because you can put a little hidden message in here. I just took and flipped my ribbon 2 different directions and put my little piece right up here. So it was really simple, really easy. And I just used a cardstock with an insert thin piece on the inside. So literally it's just the bamboo embossing page. Glue the entire first card that you made on top of the other card, and then you can totally do it that way. If you don't like that idea, then I would absolutely make sure that you make this as its own sealable piece by using a piece of card. And I went ahead and I showed it right up in here so that you can see that that's the foam and that's where I cut. So with that, it's just a matter of putting in the extra pieces if you don't want that extra card. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. I just used miscellaneous confetti that I had. I had some hearts, and I had some pink blossom flowers that looks like cherry blossoms. I had, I'm gonna try and see if I can spread some of that around. Shake it up. I had some lilac and lace 44, not 49 and market. It's lace 44. And they have flowers that are blues. So I thought, how perfect would that be? And then I just threw in some of our gold Nouveau shapes of octagon shapes. That's our confetti. So there's that. Oh, and I saved this one, and this one for another card. And this one, I don't think that I figured out where to use it yet, but I'll find the place, guaranteed. Don't throw anything away, right? Okay, so here is my other card from that pack. I have another little, this little one right here is floating around somewhere. I don't know where it floated to, but it's floating around here somewhere because I hadn't attached it yet. And I am going to put it on the card, I think. But I have, again, I'm not quite positive if I want to put it down in this corner or if I want to put it inside on the insert, which would be really cute too. It doesn't say anything. It's just a picture of a lantern. So on this one, you can see our foiled cardstock is prominent on this page. I used the borders from the vases one, this one right here. Right here, this border, because I hadn't used it anywhere, and I really liked those colors, and I like how it looked. I liked it better than the colors that they had for that border piece because it really went with the vases. And so I liked more of these colors that come from the lanterns to pop out. The other one was more orangey, peachish looking. And while there's still some orange on it, I didn't want it to pull a lot of orange. I wanted it so that you could see all the different colors. So I've taken and I've used again some more of my bamboo embossing, and I have put the border piece on and around it here, glued that on, cut it out, and then I put in my little lantern on foam squares. I've put on the border and then I've glued that straight over. I didn't foam square this because I wanted to kind of keep it lower because of the flowers. So if I kept raising it, then the flowers would also raise and then you wouldn't be able to put it in an envelope. But I also knew that it needed a little bit more zhuzh because of how empty some of this space was. So this is a way to kind of expand and use your cards. So let's see. Flowers are little birdies. They're from 2 different sets, 3 different sets actually. Take a look, see what you find online. There are so many different colors and so many different ways for these little birdies, and they are so inexpensive. It is not difficult to put them on everywhere. So then, like I said, I think, oh yes, this is where I was going to end up putting the little lantern. Once I find it, I'll remember. But I accidentally got one of my foam squares stuck there on accident. I don't know how it happened, and so I've got a little damage there, so I want to hide it. Okay, so that's the lantern portion of the set. And this is my leftover from the vase one that had the extra vases. And of course, I'm not seeing it right away. Butterflies, where are you? Oh, that's right. It's on this one. So this is the set. I chose to take this topper card because it's beautiful, but it's really big. So I chose to kind of minimalize it a little bit down, but I still wanted it to be a pretty card when I was done. And so it worked great as a 5x7. But let me show you what I did. This does not have the extra punch out frame. This is a solid piece. So you have to kind of give it a little bit of extra. And so what I did was I used the die set that comes with this pack, comes with this set, I should say. You have to purchase it separately, but it is part of the Eastern Wishes. And it has this beautiful 3-tier version die. And here's some more of that bamboo. This is probably, I saved it so that you could see a little bit better of what it looks like throughout that bamboo embossing. And the embossing folder comes as a 2 set from Ultimate. It's in the store, also on the sale. And it has the other embossing folder is koi fish. So, but it didn't really work with what I had going on for this set. So this is the set that I'm using, and I'm going to kind of focus on this a little bit more from this point forward, just because I really wanted to have this be used as part of the fun of, and see how many different ways you can use these 3 dies. I did not have to run any set through my cutting twice. Hunkydory does a great job of just cutting it nice and clean edges. I didn't have to run something extra to get an extra piece of the cutout. And look at how delicate and intricate that is. But I did not have to run it a second time. I was able to just use my bristles and pop everything out, including all of these little dots. So it was amazing. Okay, so with that, I'm going to brag a little bit about this piece. I ran one that was just every single piece. I just layered it all together and I ran every single piece. And this has a really close lip here to this. So when you're laying them, make sure that you tape them really well because they could move into each other and not do so great. Got my white piece still in there because I was busy going. So with that, I just took what was made of the outer frame with that scalloped edge piece. So as you can see, there's the scalloped edge all the way around. I then took our peach color card. It came with the lanterns, and I used it as my background just because I liked it better. So, you know, sometimes you just like something and you know you like it. This one right here. So because it's a heavy border and because it's such a big piece, I actually kind of forced it to keep your eye looking forward at the front, but not busying it up too much. So it looks like it could possibly run in heavy-handed, but because of how big this is, it kind of helps take that down a little bit. And I also put the frame, over on top of and still let the peach color peek in. I took my bamboo stickers, the corner stickers, and I just added them right here, basically making a very pretty frilly frame that you don't get with one of these. Because this didn't have a frame. So I basically created my own frame by using the scallop, and the little stickers, and it made it work perfectly. And then inside, I used our DL card pack. I cut it in half because it would be too tall otherwise. I used my insert, the fancy papers of the inserts and special papers. And what I did here in order to make sure that this fit onto the page, I went through and I just put tape here at the top first and left this as a flap, then moved this right in with glue and pushed it up to where it was a good space for the top and bottom to work. And I just taped it down there on top. So there's not going to be a catch. You're not going to miss something. It's all nicely glued down together. And then I just use one of my extra little buttons. Okay. This is the insert to this is the matte finish, non-foiled page of the teapot pack. So this is of course, this is the time that they'll stick together. It was on the top. Okay, so I've taken parchment and I've made the back. And I'm going to give you a really easy explanation for any of these cards. Part of the way that it works is that you're trying to make a shape that will work well with the rest of your cards. But at the same time, you don't want to have to try and cut a decal because this is a decal card. And unless you have the decal, Tim Holtz decal guillotine like that we have, you don't want to have to try and decal that card. So instead, I always take with any specialty shape that's around it, I always take 1/2 inch off the top and 1/2 inch off the bottom of the full size of my card. So this is a 6x6 decal, and it's a Hunkydory's. And I added my parchment, made sure that I used my red liner sticky tape so it will stick. I then used my cutout piece from my screen and I made it sit in the middle, but I have moved this off to the side. So then it kind of almost looks like a little stack of books where it will just layer, layer, layer. And it works its way through. So you see all of these beautiful pieces in it, and it doesn't look odd. It doesn't look heavy on one side versus the other because I've put my flowers in the middle. And then I've just taken and used the shape of this. I put it on top of my, I took my little cover piece, my frame outline, and I put it right over the top of this, glued it down, cut around it, marked it, cut around it, pop this on with foam squares now onto this piece, because remember, I'm just trying to cut that piece. I wasn't going to glue it down. I'm using foamies for this section. So this piece gets glued to the die cut area, and then this piece sits on top with the flowers. And it's so simply done, but it looks so fancy. And I used our jelly roll pins that give us that silvery look on some of this. So even though it's not the gold foil card, it's got some shimmer and shine to it. And then I've got my insert inside. Again, half an inch up, half an inch side. Okay. Okay, I have a leftover frame again because that's what I do. I use some of them and not others of them. I've used the cardstock itself, the Adorable Scoreable Matte cardstock from the set that came with the pheasant pieces. This is the corner. This is part of that whole piece. So I've attached that first on my 5x5 card. I've moved my frame to be horizontal instead of vertical, which we don't usually do. You usually see those frames standing upright, but I wanted it to shorten up just because this was such a big piece. And I thought, how am I going to make that work? And so this is how I made it work. So I've got my little frame. I've got my bird, put my sentiment on with foamies, and then I put this little vase that was left over from the bird. I keep referring to it because it had so many tags. It's one that came off of the lantern toppers. They had little vases in those. And then I added, again, some of my little bamboo embossing pieces. I only ran 2 of these, by the way. So everything that you see for these is just 2 run embossing pieces. And this is what I have left over. So I just cut it into a little rectangle piece the size of the top, and I hear little feet trotting my way. So we'll see if I can get her moving along. I'm sure that you guys aren't minding too much because she is really being patient for me. Thank you, Lily. Oh, and so I glued this. I glued the frame to the cardstock piece, and then I foamed up this and foamed up this. And that's it. That's all that I did. And you've got the inserts to be able to put this exact piece right on in the inside. Okay, guess what? I'm almost done. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
So Mary asked if she could help, and I don't know that she thought what she was getting into because I was still making some of them today because I got really tired and fell asleep last night and didn't quite finish. So got up this morning, started working on them, but I needed to be here in time. So she said, sure, I can help you. So we've gotten one of the little paper accents, the narrower little cards. It's not a DL. It's a 3 1/4 by a little over 6. So it's not tall at all. No, we have to wait patiently, please. Okay. All right. Can you go and sit down at the table and wait patiently for me? You can have another one of the snacks. Yeah, you can have one of my snacks. Okay. All righty. So I've got my purple cardstock from the vases one. Looks like this. got the butterflies on it. And I used those butterflies in that fan one. So this portion was gone, but I still had all of this to work with. So I took just a little bit off of here. And so Mary was able to very kindly put up with my interesting creation because I really thought that this was very pretty portion of the card right here. But if I used one of my little extra frames on here, it was going to cut off so much in one way or the other. And I thought, how can I make that work? So I said, Mary, can you just kind of trim that around and slide the narrow piece in and over the top of the little frame, and then glue the rest of it to the top of the cardstock. So I'm going to put it in really close. And she's like, do you mean like this? And I said, yes, exactly like that, which is awesome because it meant that I explained it well, which doesn't always happen. So here's my cardstock piece. I did not glue this frame. Mary did not glue this frame until after this piece was cut to the shape that she wanted it cut. She used and rounded the corners so that it would blend nicely with the corners of the frame, so it doesn't look awkward in any way because it still has the same movement. If it had the sharper edges, it really stood out. And so she went through and she rounded those corners and then glued the second part up here. Once it was all created in one piece, she then put foamies on it with the birthday wishes, especially for you, foamy at the top, and that is it. She was able to do that in about 5 minutes. So she's really quick. I'm not so quick. She was really quick. And so I really appreciated her extra help. And she helped me set up another one that we are going to do together online because I had to show you the way the rest of these, that die I said could be used 3 different ways. So we used those. Yes. Yes. Go ahead. She's double checking if she can have one of the treat snacks. So thank you guys for putting up with a little of interruptions here and there. She's really been an awesome trooper at this. Okay. So first things first, I want you to be able to see that when you make this card, this is the initial, if you lay all 3 the way that I did, you will get that one single piece that looks like this. Hopefully you guys can see it because we're stopped again with the lag. Okay, there we go. So this is the piece that comes on the inside. You can then cut out the next piece that gives it a cut right through here, and then you have the gold, or you can aperture that by taking off the outer cut and just do this piece. So this is going to give you 3 different ways that you can use it. You've got the outer frame that comes and cuts right here. Done. Here's number 1, and this gets cut out of the middle. So you can see how they all work together, and that last frame is just cutting this shape out on the outer edge. So with that, you get all of these kinds of looks, but this wouldn't have a center. If you take this out though, and you put in the middle die, it will make this shape for you. Usable anywhere, anytime, always. And again, didn't have to cut a second time to get all those little holes cleared out. It was just one time through and it was done. So this is one of those ways that we're using it. And then the last way is rather than a die piece, I've used it and I've made an aperture out of it. So that is just, if this was the die and not the piece of cardstock, if this was the die and I placed it on a piece of card and ran it through my machine, you're going to get this aperture look instead. And so you can use these everywhere. I don't see that this is specifically set up as Eastern Wishes or Eastern style. I think that they can work for anything. Yeah. So nope, no more. No more. Okay, I can't do it now, but the more you interrupt me, the longer I have to take. Okay, so this is the way that you get that aperture, is by just running that third die. And I think that I moved, there we go. So that's just using this on a piece of paper, making the imprint into the paper, pulling it off, cleaning it up. That's it. You can also get this one. This is what makes this frame right here. It's just this one because it doesn't cut one of the edges. This just cuts the holes. This part does not cut the edge. So that's why you get this in that die along with the little scalloped edge. It's because it all makes one because of there's no cut here. And then this outer image is created by using the flat one on the outside. And that is what you get if you use that one, that outer one. So it's going to cut there. If you use two of them, it will give you both a frame and an inner piece if you want it. So lots of different ways. So I'm going to show you how we can make 3 ways of doing a die cut with this particular die because of how it's made. You won't get it with everything, just some. So out of the aperture one, I just took some of our little orange flower ribbon that we have downstairs, and I used it as a little garland because when I made this, I needed a little something over here. Where is that piece? I might have moved it. So I wanted the aperture, and I really wanted the aperture to show up really well. And so what I'm going to do is remember, I've got a lot of this left over. And so I'm going to use this. Why am I going to use this? Because the blue is going to shine through and complement my topper set out of the bird's topper set. So we did the peacock last week, and these are the toppers that are left. So I'm just going to cut this piece, shape it out. This is a 6x6 card, so you can see exactly how much gets taken off. I didn't cut anything anywhere on this 6x6. I just ran it through the machine. From there, I'm going to take and I'm going to mimic those shapes with the flowers. And it's just going to sit with those little pretty flowers shining through. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to diagonal it here. And then I'm going to foam square this. That's it. It's as simple as this. I didn't glue it because I wanted you to be able to see what it did. And we only have so much time to be able to do this. And I'm already at 1 hour and 4 minutes, which means that I just have a few minutes more. So this is how you do this one. Truly, the blue in the back with your aperture die, it turns out wonderful. If you don't have the die, that's okay. You can still use the blue background and you will still have a beautiful card out of this, especially if you use a section of this as well. This one's been used. but you can also use the orange, peach as some of your background. Miss Lily, no touching. Okay, so that's the aperture version. This is using the die version. I have taken, and we've got some really pretty pearlescent ivory card. They're in different shapes and sizes. It's listed as ivory. However, it is a little bit more yellow than ivory would be. And so I wanted to point out that to you because Brittany said, can you use some of that? And I said, sure, because we just don't show it very often. So this is one of those. And I'm just going to take and I'm going to glue this on. It's going to have to be glued. You could probably get your little tape flag in there if you have a narrow enough piece or your red sticky tape liner. Any of those will hold it down, but glue will hold it just as well. So you can run your glue just right along there, get it nice and gooey, put on a few drops here and there on the inside. And when you put this down, a little bit of glue may squish up. Just use your wipe and wipe it on through.
Sticky specs would work well with that too.
Sticky specs would work well. Yes, that's a very good idea. Yes. So there are some pieces to this that do bend and move. So I want to show you right here. I don't know, and I hadn't come up with how to use it, but in more reflection, as I'm sitting here looking at it, these two spaces could have a really pretty ribbon in it that you're running the ribbon through. So you can run it up or you can run it across in these two spaces. And there's even a little one right here. So you could maybe use a different color here and then a different color up here and down here. So that's another way that you can use it. Okay, I took this piece of card right here. Boop, there you are. I cut it, just cut it across in a straight line. I had about this much of it. And then all I did, because it is squares, is I went through and I looked at the cut. So I came in and then this way and then this way, in, up. So it's just truly a little jig and a jag. So you just keep moving your scissors with the paper and you're just literally making straight up and down cuts. So if I'm coming in here, I'm just going up, up, down, and of course I've got the big scissors in the moment, but up, down, across, back up again, and it just goes like that. So it may seem a little daunting at first, but it's just little tiny clips and that's it, right through there. So you can see how it looks by the time it's done. This paper has a lot of extra cuts in it. And then this little piece is just nicely cut out for you. So this one, I just wanted to let the die shine. And so from here, you're just going to glue that down. I would even probably take a little bit of it and move it over, just a little cut, just a little bit off of here. I did leave the plumage up here so that you could see the really pretty feathers. See right in here. So with these, you should be able to see how it will very nicely fit. And I think once I get to the point of gluing this down, I think I'm just going to cut this edge off and end right there with that piece, that straight piece right there. And then I just have my little to someone very special up here at the top. Isn't that going to be beautiful? And you can do so many different things with it. And this color just was really pretty underneath. And so I thought this is a way that I can use these, and they're beautiful. So the last way to use the aperture, boop-a-doo-doo. Mary, sorry, Mary, that wasn't intentional. Mary helped me do this last one. She helped set it up for me. It's a 5x7 card. She's cut it from down here, 5x7 measured. Okay, no blue. You have to cut the blue. And if you don't want to cut out each of these scallops like she did here, you can just run straight across in that white line and it will still look just as pretty. Or you can even, in fact, run it. Let me see if I can get it close enough for you to see. You could run it right underneath that line and it would still work because it's still a whole bunch of pink that's going on more pink. So it will blend without cutting out the scallops too, but she was going to help me out by using those scallops. Why do I want the scallops on here? Well, because this is my middle die being used and I've got this beautiful gold space, but all of those scallops around it are being mimicked by the rose petals as well as up in here. So you can see it's there, and then she's having to use this portion of it as well. And you can move these however it works for you. So keep in mind, this comes down right at that pink space. I want to be able to show you without messing it up too much. She cut her scallop first and then cut across the top, and then she's hiding that with this portion because otherwise you can see right here it's a little bit shy. So if you want that scallop cut, you'll have to cut that first. Otherwise, it's just a straight cut straight across, and you can just use what you've got. Okay. So you glue this piece on, or you use your tape flags. And in fact, I like using tape flags for these. But if you feel like, no more, wait, please. So with this, if you use this piece and you don't want to use the glue, make sure that you use your tape flags because you'll want to put it in and out into this square. You don't want to put your sticky strips here. So if glue, wipe it off on the edges when you're done, or use your tape flags. But the glue will let you frame it where you think is best. Extra little pieces of foamy squares. So with this, we're just going through, and I'm not going to peel every single one of these because I know that you guys know how to do this. We took out the middle of that topper set because this is where we used it for one of the other cards, and it's exactly where I mentioned it and you could see it. So this is part of the set that I discussed earlier, that we took all the, basically I took all the extra middle frames out pretty much everywhere. And that's how I got some of my extra topper pieces in there. So here's this one up on foam squares. We did not, by having this gold piece here, we didn't need the frame. So why not use the frame somewhere else? So that's exactly what we did. And then from here, you're going to take and put this one also up on foam squares. And then we have the button. And you can choose wherever. I know, but I'm going to be done. So you need to just wait. I know it's hard to wait. No more. No more interrupting. Promise? Promise. Okay. I love you too. Okay. Go, go. Go, go. Okay. I think I want to put mine here. But you can decide to put it with none on out on the outside. You could just put it on the inside with your insert or your specialty paper in here and leave it in on the inside saying get well soon. And as you guys know, I like to keep all of my little buttons together with my pack, but I don't necessarily put them on unless we're doing a class, because I save them because maybe I want to give this as a Mother's Day card, or maybe I want to give it as a birthday card, but then it comes around and I've got birthday on it when I think I want it, and now I really need somebody that's sick. So this is the perfect opportunity. So guys, that is it for today, which was a lot. I just want to show you, just to get a good idea, minus these 3 that weren't glued together, or I should say these 2 that weren't done completely. I want to show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This was our one from last week that was so much fun with the peacocks. Had to show it just one more time because I love it. 7. This is 8. Bryce can keep track for me. I just didn't tell him ahead of time. 9, 10, 11, our number 12, 13, 14. And I will tell you that I still have leftover pieces and leftover card. So you are, and I have an entire extra set, like I mentioned, of each of the toppers. So that's why I was able to show you all of these in whole pieces, because I still have toppers for my specialty and my inserts, and then the cardstock and card foil. I have all of them as a full set. So you will be able to make a lot more. If you do 12, then you have 24 out of this group, and I bet you could still make more. So I'm just going to go through, and over the next couple weeks, I'm going to drop a video, not a live stream, but a video of some of the stamping, and also how to fold the fan and put it on the card, because it seemed to be one of those that I got some questions about. So this fan with the card that we have, I'm going to do this one as an example, and just really walk you through it step by step, what the steps are and how I came to it. So we'll do one on stamping, one on that, and one on how to fold these extra concept cards that are part of the Eastern Wishes as well. So you've got lots of things coming to you next week of things to do with this set, and I hope that you will enjoy your weekend and give us a thumbs up if you can. Please let me know what your favorite card is. Mary R is going in for surgery. I got this after I announced it on Wednesday, but Mary R is going in for surgery on the 21st, so she is not going to be up to pulling for this month. However, she will be, or I should say, for this next month in beginning of May. So, but it still always helps for you to leave us a comment, give us just some information about what you liked or whatever it may be. So have a question, put it down, and we will try and answer that in a couple of these extra videos. So thank you so very much. Have a great rest of your weekend, and goodbye.